I done took my Alpha Brain, got my iPhone on silence, ready to open up a can of audio whoop-ass for you. And I want to start off today's podcast by telling you a little story that happened to me yesterday at the gym. And it also transferred to back here at the house at 316 Gimmick Street. I went over to the gym yesterday evening. I had already been that earlier afternoon to get my weight workout. But now that I got crunch time coming on, I've got a target date to drop a few lbs and get in shape. I had to kick the cardio in to burn off all the Buffalo Bill Cody beer that I drank with Eric Bischoff. So I was doing cardio at the gym yesterday, and I was on one of them like pre-core elliptical gimmicks. And I was on one of those pre-core elliptical gimmicks. Now, the thing I like about those is that they're a little bit easy on the knees. It's just like running, except it ain't got the same kind of impact. But your legs are just going back and forth, just like you're running, but you're running on shock absorbers. And I had the tension level set on 13, and I had it on level 10 on the incline. And, I'm just in there doing my thing, burning calories like a motherfucker. And all of a sudden, I start getting that, hey, I got to fart pretty soon kind of feeling. So I put my head on a swivel to see if the coast was clear so I could release the air pressure which had built up in my intestinal tract. I looked left, no one there. I looked right, no one there. All good. Now, I was staring right at the wall, so there wasn't nobody in front of me. So that's 3 out of 4 bases covered. The coast may be clear, but lo and behold, as I turned around behind me, there was a young lady working out with a trainer on a stretching mat directly in harm's way, right behind me. So I must maintain my composure. It was not time yet to release this gaseous pressure. Now, I was listening to Easton Corbin in my headphones, just digging the sounds that he was laying down, one of my favorite new country artists. My cardio was kind of at a medium pace. I wasn't trying to go crazy. I'm good. And since I wasn't trying to go too hard and too strenuously, I figured, hey, you're good to go. You can hold it. Surely, soon enough, the people behind me will be gone, and then I can do what I had to do. So, anyway, I'm holding on. I got that fart stuffed up there in the chamber for a little while longer, and sure enough, they got up to leave and go to the weight room area and start their workout. And as they were walking out the door and I was about to pull the trigger on what was building up as a real gut buster, a rather attractive young lady walks in to do her stretching as well. Now, see, at this point, I'm starting to sweat a little bit. Now, first of all, from the physical exertion of the cardio exercise that I was doing, coupled with the dynamic tension of squeezing my ass shut so a gale force fart don't fly out of my ass, and 1, smell up the cardio room, 2, to not injure the young lady behind me on the stretching mat, and 3, so as not to blow my status as a global icon and a national treasure. All right, now, I may be stretching it a little bit with the global icon status and national treasure, but this is my podcast. It is my story. It is for entertainment purposes for the working man, so back to the true story. There I was, riding my pre-core strider, ass clenched up like a motherfucker. I wiped the sweat off my face, 1,000-yard stare in my eyes, focused, determined. Finally, the young lady picks up her belongings and heads out the door. Now, I've been on the pre-core for 15 minutes. I released the safety to the fire position and pulled the trigger. Hallelujah! It was intense from the get-go. That fart started off at about 4,000 RPMs and revved up to about 9,000 RPMs, almost hit the red line. If I would have been in a farting contest, I would have won not just first, second, and third place, but the grand prize, hands down. Mission accomplished. I'm feeling good now. Pressure back to normal. Underwear still intact and in one piece. When my phone rings, and it's my wife, Kristen. Now, she's been under the weather for the last few days with the flu. And she was on the line, the telephone line, with some bad news. Turns out that there was a dead baby squirrel in our swimming pool. Now, let me flash back to earlier in the afternoon when myself and Kristen were watching the same baby squirrel fiddle fuck around in the front yard. And I noticed that this squirrel was kind of moving around a little bit slowly. Dare I say, lethargically. Most time when you see squirrels, man, they kind of nervous. They're shifty. They moving back and forth, and they quick on their feet. But this one was just kind of meandering around. And now, just looking at the squirrel, judging by the size of the squirrel, I figured the little rascal was maybe 6, 7 months old. Now, that's just a guess, because there are many things I'm an expert at, like drinking beer, pro wrestling, drinking beer, stuff like that. However, I'm not an expert at aging squirrels. So anyway, back to the story. I tell my wife I'll be home in 15 minutes. That'll give me 30 minutes total of cardio. Now, I was looking to get 60, but this family emergency has superseded my goal of dropping a few lbs. I must take care of the family back at the house with a dead squirrel. So, finally, when I stopped the cardio machine, the calories burned gimmick said I had burned 360 calories by working out for 30 minutes on that machine. Now, this, however, did not take into account the fact that I had probably burned 400 calories clenching my ass together so I didn't shit all over the place in that gym. That makes, when you add them up together, 400 plus 360, a grand total of 760 total calories burned. Not bad. So, anyway, got off the cardio machine, wiped it down, collected my gear, and headed back to 316 Gimmick Street to remove the dead squirrel from the swimming pool. Now, there he was, little rascal. I fished him out of the water. Then I thought, maybe I can save him. I began CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, on the baby squirrel, pushing on his chest, on his rib cage with my hands. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Now, time for a little mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Maybe I was a little overzealous with the first breath of oxygen I blew into the squirrel because he promptly farted. One more round of CPR. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and... After a few more rounds of that, it was time to face the cold, hard facts. The baby squirrel was indeed dead. Now, I could not determine the cause of death. I am not a coroner. I did check him out for teeth marks. I found none. I bagged him up. This poor baby 6 to 7 month old squirrel in a couple of plastic bags and disposed of him in a trash can. When I walked into the house, the jury was all ready with the verdict. Kristen had determined that my prize chocolate lab Hershey the Wonder Dog was the smoking gun. Not Shona, not Moolah. Hershey was the guilty party from killing the little baby squirrel. Now, I can say this on Hershey's behalf, that this is pure speculation. No eyewitnesses had stepped forward to corroborate her finding. So anyway, the dead squirrel story here at 316 Gimmick Street.